What's going on, guys? It is Average Player here, and we are again recording on the Pixel. Actually, not again. We are back to recording on the Pixel. We never got rid of it because AT&T, we get to keep the phone. After we canceled with them because this Pixel was having so many problems, so we went to somewhere else, and I got the Galaxy. Recorded on that for a while, but, it's good, but the Pixel had the better camera. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to crack out the Pixel. I'm using my Rode T for this stuff because it is way better audio quality, and it actually works pretty good with the phone because I'm able to plug it into the Pixel and use that to record with the mic. Other than that, the Blue Snowball, which those of you who didn't know, I used to have one of these, and I still do. It works very well, but that's going to be used for anything recording on PC. So this deck profile is Runick for hire Spright. Obviously, if you guys have seen any other of my videos, it starts off with the main stuff, which in my opinion, this deck's main thing is the Spright cards. But there's more Runick cards in here, but I always start off with the monsters, and all the Runick cards are fucking spells. So those go later in the list. So we're gonna start off. We obviously do for those of you who are new, we do main deck first, and then we do side deck, then extra deck. Let me just fix you real quick. There we go. So it wouldn't be a deck with sprites in it if you didn't play 3 Spright blue. This card is the creme de la creme. This card is amazing. At this point, everybody should know what that card does. Next, we play 2 copies of Jet. I've always been an advocate, even in plain Spright decks, to play 2 copies of Jet. Because if you drew 2 of these, it's fine. If you drew 3 of them, it sucked. If you draw 3 blue, it's fine. But blue has more utilities, and you still want to keep one in deck. And you want to see blue better than Jet, because you're just going to use blue to add Jet anyway. Because in this deck, you want to have less Jet. In the regular Spright deck, I feel like you need to have less Jet. It gives you a spot for like 1 more hand trap, which actually comes up. But you want to make sure you use blue to do Jet and not Jet to search starter to do blue, because then that literally shuts down your plays and makes it to where you have to play as a non-form of interruption on your opponent's turn just to set up your interruptions with this deck. So 2 Jet's fine. In regular Sprights, I played 2 Jet too. For the other Spright cards, it's 2 red, 1 carrot. This is probably the best ratio. I've seen 1 and 1 of red and carrot before, but I do 2 red, 1 carrot. It actually comes up where I can normal summon red, special summon out the other red, and then continue to do other combos while having a negate on board. So this does come up. That's why I keep it like that. You could honestly cut it down by 1. There's 2 cards in here in the hand trap category that are replacements for 2 other cards, because I need those 2 other cards. I just haven't been able to buy them yet. So 2 red, 1 carrot. Next, we're getting into the for hire stuff. Thank you for the reprint. Rex. 3 copies of Rex. Fright for hire. This card is the best card in the deck. You can normal summon it, use its effect, get something, a spell or trap to your hand, and then when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to summon a for hire monster back from your graveyard, or add a for hire spell or trap from your graveyard to your hand. So if you open 2, it's actually amazing because you can normal summon 1. In your combo, you keep 1 in your hand for Raphael. When you summon out Raphael, which is coming up later, then you pitch it and then you can do it again. Because you use this, normal summon it, add Mayhem, and then you summon it back off of Mayhem, and you continue combos because it's a different type, or different attribute, or it's a different type, yeah. So when you link summon into your for hire stuff, so it ends up in the grave again, and then you can banish it, summon something else. And then you have another copy in your hand for Raphael, you pitch it off Raphael, and you do it again on your opponent's turn. Next, we only have 3 cards left for the for hire, at least monsters. We got Dampa, Beat, and Raphael. Beat never really comes up in the instance that it's used for, because you normal summon it and you special summon from hand and search. Generally, ideally, it's normal summon Beat, special summon Dampa, search Raphael. Right? To dig, because you special Raphael, it's excavate 2, add 1, or excavate 3, add 1, whatever. In this way, you also have a negate on board, and you're able to search. Dampa's able to special summon another one, which you can use Dampa to special summon out the Raphael. That's how you get it off. And then also gives you the 3 to do that. But if you want this to work right, you have to have Rex. So you can still special summon out Raphael. In some cases, though, you can still normal summon beat, special summon out Dampa, trigger beat, add Rex, link 3 in the Falgo, and then special summon the Raphael, or use Falgo's effect. You chain Rex, banish, special summon out another card, summon Raphael, and then you're good. So, I know, it's a little awkward. I will do a combo tutorial on it some other day. But now we're on to the hand traps. We play 3 copies of Ash, 2 copies of Nib, 2 copies of Imperm. Let me separate these out a little bit, because I keep on forgetting I have a little bit of room. And then 1 called by. So, the Imperms are the cards that will be coming out when I get the rest of my Runick cards. But other than that, 3, 5, 7, 8 hand traps. Because I count called by as a hand trap. Your opponent hand traps, you just use it. It's also good to set, you know, just like Imperm. So, it doesn't really matter. I like this. Especially the Ash and Nib are the ones that are staying. If I could find another Nib, I'd play another Nib. And I'd probably take out another card coming up. So, that's it for the hand traps. Now I only have 2 Spright spells. And it's 2 starters. And I've thought about throwing Smashers in here. Because it would come up. This card's signed by Crush Cards. Thank you, Crush Cards. A Smashers would come up, and if you want to play Smashers, that's your own preference, and it would come up, and it has almost come up before, but starters are useful. In terms of a combo, when I show you the combo line, you generally don't use starter on your first turn. Use it on your opponent's turn to set up an interruption. And then we have 2 for hire spells. They are not in the greatest condition, but ignore that. I will get better conditions here in a little bit. Mayhem for hire, Rookie for hire. If you don't have a way to special summon out for hire, so you only summoned beat, right? And that's the only card you have to be able to use it, and you open Rookie too. And you use Rookie, tribute off beat, special summon out Rex with it. So this way you can get Rex, add your Mayhem, and this way you have a level 2, because if you don't have a level 2 on board, then your Spright cards can't trigger, and you need to get Rex out anyway. So this is basically just another way to, this is another way to get out of Rex, and this is just a decent revival card. Alright, we're separating up the Runick cards. What we got? 2 Fountain, you know, it's at 2. One of the best cards in the deck. I actually almost never see it unless I go into the Runick line, which I actually never see very much anyway. 2 copies of Tip, because it's at 2. This card's good. I've actually used it a lot to add a Runick card and then banish the top card of my opponent's deck. That's what I use it a lot for. Because on my opponent's turn, I use Tip, add any of the other Runick cards that I'm playing in this deck. They banish the top card, and then I just keep on activating Runick cards. Because if I have a lot in my hand, I can just keep activating Runick cards, interrupting my opponent, banishing more cards from their deck. And then after I use the last one, I can shuffle 3 back in, draw 3, and hopefully draw into more hand traps. So that's what I use Tip for. Other than that, I use like Runick Destruction to summon out something else. If I know I'm not playing against a Spell and Trap heavy deck, I use it to summon out like your Hugins and your other cards that you use. But it's good for Spell and Trap Destruction and banishes top 4. Yeah, banishes top 4, so it's really good with that. 2 Runick Freezing Curses. These are monster negates. And it's not this card that I want another copy of. To replace Imperm, it's the next one. Because I want to play 3 of this next card, but it might only be 2, which is Flashing Fire. I've thought about playing 3. I want to play 3, but I'm thinking about playing 2. So I can play 2, have room to play my last Nib whenever I pick up a Nib. But this just destroys a special summon monster and banishes the top 2 cards. It's really good. Also, all Runick cards have the thing where you have to skip your next battle phase. And they also all can special summon a Runick monster from your extra deck. Next, we're on our last stretch of spell cards, because we don't play any traps other than the Imperms. 3 Fossil Dig. This is searching Rex, because Rex is a dinosaur. And then 2 triple attacks. So I believe in this card in this deck because cards like Droll do exist. And if you get Drolled, rip another card out of your opponent's hand and it's worth it. Especially since you just now have like a whole bunch of, say you have Runick cards and you set them all past. You know, because whatever, or you have Fountain, so you can keep them all in your hand. And this rips a card out of your opponent's hand. Now you have the advantage in cards because now they're going to open up with 4 cards instead of 6 because they used the card off a Droll and then you rip the card off a triple attack. So they're down to 3, then they draw for turn, they're at 4. And then you should have enough interruptions to stop them. I believe in this card. This card is amazing. It's also good going second, where they use a monster effect and then you change of heart their monster. That's why I play this card. It's actually really, really, really good and it has come up quite a bit. Even if they don't Droll me and say they Ash me, I use it to draw 2 and basically just get what I want anyway. So now on to the extra deck. The extra deck is actually full of a whole bunch of one-ofs except for a few cards. So our one-of Spright monster is Spright Sprint. Please bring back Elf, even though you'd have to ban another card first. But 1 copy of Spright Sprint. This has come up a few times because you use Sprint. If you don't have a way to get a Rex in your graveyard without having to use your only copy of Rex on field, you use Sprint to dump a Rex. So there's that. Or if you have a Rex in hand, then you can dump a Rex, so you can still do what you want without having to utilize, you know, the Rex in your hand. If that makes sense. Sprint is just good for getting your level 2s in grave. If you don't even have that, you can use it to send Dampa to the graveyard. Use Rex Special Summon Dampa. So when you go into your plays on your opponent's turn of, like, Special Summoning Raphael, which is preferred because you do have 1 interruption with Dampa with this. Because you send Dampa, you Special Summon it out with Rex. And then when you make Falgo, Falgo chain 1, chain 2 Dampa, and then you can, like, if you have another Rex in graveyard, chain 3 Rex or whatever. So, and you want to make sure it's, like, in response to monster summon. So, on summon, link summon, whatever. So then you can pop with Dampa. Now you have an Omni Negate with Raphael, and you just drew more hand traps and more Runick cards. It's really good. So that's what Sprint's used for. It's basically to load up your graveyard with level 2s that you want. Next is IP. This card's amazing for this deck because IP is 1 type. Sprint's another type, and all you have to do is have another monster with a different type, which the Spright monsters are all Thunder, but any of the For Hire cards are something different, so use IP on your opponent's turn to make that combo that I was just talking about happen. 1 is Azalea. Now, most people don't play this card. In these builds that I've seen, I like this card. It actually has come up where I know I have enough gas where I can make Azalea, pop a card, swing before using any of my Runick cards, pop another card, or pop the card I'm swinging, and then swinging it, and then swing again, hopefully dealing 15 points of damage while destroying 2 cards on 1,500 points of damage. While destroying 2 cards on board, I believe in this card. This card is amazing for this deck. And it's also a machine, so it gets around the other stuff, and you can use it for... Yeah, and then you can use it for a link summon into, you know, your For Hire stuff when you get there. Now, most stuff, the For Hire stuff isn't really good at, and sometimes you just need to beat in something, which is Avermax, so you can just use the IP Masquerade plus something else. This card can't be targeted with IP Masquerade as restriction on it. Now it can't be destroyed by card effects. It's just basically a big fuck you to everything, unless your opponent non-target's banished, and that's an issue, but I still play 1 copy of him. He might be getting changed out for an Appaloosa, so if I'm able to make the fall go on my turn, and have the Omni Negate and everything ready, I can use an IP Masquerade to make an indestructible Appaloosa, which has been a thought of mine, and I've had lines where I've been able to do that before, so we'll see. Next is 2 copies of Donner. This card is absolutely fantastic. It's really good at breaking boards because you can target 1 For Hire monster and 1 monster your opponent controls, pop them. So it's really good at that, especially when it hits the graveyard. Then you revive it with Rex, so then you can use it again on another turn. Or you revive it again, because it is a link too, so you can go into something higher. It's also a free For Hire monster. It has another effect where you can tribute it off. Or tribute off a For Hire monster, special summon a For Hire monster from the graveyard. And if you tribute it off a link monster For Hire, then you can special summon 1 other monster, which that actually has come up. Most of the time I don't even use the first effect because I'm going first, where I have to summon out both to like get an ad or something like that, and that comes up. Next is 2 copy of Falgo. This is the main card of the extra deck for this deck. This is the main card you want to make. I've been talking about it all video. You use Falgo, you summon it out, and then you see if your opponent has a response to its effect activating, no, or the summon, no. Then you chain Rex as chain 2. So now the next thing you have to respond to is Rex. If you don't have anything on Rex, then you go and you do the combo as I was telling you guys before. And this solicitates you to get all the shit to your hand and all that other stuff. And like I said, I'll show you guys a combo tutorial some other time. I'm probably going to do it right after this video. I'm just going to make sure I shuffle everything and just record another video after this. Next, we're going into the fusions, which is 2 Hugin. I generally only use 1, but 2 is really good. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. 2 is really good. I generally only use 1 going into the combos because, of course, it is a different type. This is a fairy. The other one coming up is fairy, but another one's beast. And that's the reason why it's so good, because you can just use a Runick card, special it out in the extra monster zone, add your field spell, right? And now you can just keep doing your stuff with it, because you don't have a battle phase on your first turn, so it doesn't really apply any restriction with your Runick cards. 1 copy of Munin. This card hasn't really come up. It only came up against Phantom Knights to get rid of a break sword to negate a break sword. That was about it. Jerry, now this card has come up, and this card was actually goated when I won the locals with this deck, the same exact build, because it cannot be destroyed by card effects. My opponent did a massive board wipe. I think it was Raigeki. I was able to get the fountain back to my hand, and then somebody swung into it, not knowing that it has a destruction effect, and I was able to get rid of another card. So this card actually comes up because it just sits there and it's almost indestructible. Now we're in the XCs. 2 gigantic. Sorry about the camera. It's getting a little hot. 2 gigantic. You know what that does. I've made a lot of videos. And then Mannequin Cat. I vouch by this card. This card's amazing. Now we're going to try to go by the side deck really quick, because not really has changed, but 2 copies of Droll. Everybody knows why. Didn't get hit. 1 copy of Gamma Burst. And 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. You know, I've been noticing I need more back row hate, so I play the Duster. 2 Lightning Storms, because I don't know why it's at 2. It should be at 3, but I only play 2 because it's at 2. His Lightning Storm does come up. Next is 3 copies of Enemy Controller. This card is actually amazing. It comes up in the mirror a lot, but against other decks that play Link 2s or decks that already use monster negates, you can take their monsters. It's so good. And then you just link them away because they're generally different types of what you have, and you can do for full for hire combo. And this is where things get a little sketchy. I play 2 Dark Ruler, and this has actually come up quite a bit. I love this card. 2 Evenly Matched. This card is amazing, especially since I see an adventure package at my locals where they have to keep the token on board. And then 2 Solemn Judgment. Everybody knows why I love this card. Judgment is probably one of the best cards in my side deck for the fact that you set it, you negate a summon or a spell or trap. Because sometimes your hand traps aren't enough and you can't negate that 1 spell or trap that you need to have negated. So, yeah. But anyways, that's it for the deck profile, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you guys think I should change anything, let me know. I understand I zoomed in a little late on the video, but if you guys think I should change anything, let me know down in the comments section, and I will test it out as I normally do. But most of the time, decks change and stay the same because I like what I play, and I'll try out what other people say, and I just sometimes don't like it. Sometimes I do interpret some of it, and you guys have seen that before. When I get the new Salamangreat support, I will be playing Salamangreats again, and I do have all 3 of my Gazelles in my deck now, and you guys will be getting a deck profile on that sometime soon. But anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in another one.